Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Our sign anchor tonight is Joyce Wairimu. And of course, we'll be speaking to Gitile Naituli, who is a commissioner at National Cohesion and Integration Commission, just to understand why there is a very poor uptake or very low uptake as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned. And also the safety issue as far as AstraZeneca vaccine is concerned. Of course, that interview is coming your way in the next 10 minutes or so. But for now, even as Kenyans express pain felt at the pump, the government has defended its move to increase fuel prices of the precious commodity that moves the economy. The move, according to the government spokesperson, Sarah Suguna, is aimed at saving the already battered economy. Milia Kisianya kickstarts our bulletin tonight.
The move by the government through the Energy Regulatory Commission to hike fuel prices has been a hotly contested debate. The common mwananchi blaming the government for constantly squeezing their pockets dry despite an existing pandemic. This is after the prices increased at the pump for petrol and diesel by 7 shillings and 63 cents and 5 shillings and 75 cents per litre respectively. However, the government has bowed to the pressure and defended its move.
When you subsidize, then you're denying another function, another program, funds. So if we subsidize petrol, or diesel for that matter, then we deny education, we deny health, we deny roads, and other critical basic requirements.
In his weekly report, government spokesperson Sarah Suguna now says it's time for the common mwananchi to fully pay for the services rendered by the government.
The matatus will continue that way because life is more important to us than profit. All right? So if you own matatu, my friend, kindly keep on carrying half the capacity because that life is important to us. So we are crying when we shouldn't be crying. Actually, we should be standing firm and say that this is our government. We will support it. That's all I'm asking of each and every one of us. Let's stand firm and support our government.
The defense, however, has not been met well by those in the transport sector.
The international market, fuel is not rising, but in Kenya, fuel goes up like after 2 weeks. Like in the last 1 month, there was an increase in fuel. Maybe they are looking for BBI money. We don't know.
Wasafiri saa hii, eda umuongezee 10 bob. Wacha tu hata 20 bob. Ongezea 10 bob. Hiyo inakuwa ni kama vita kwa gari. Na si eti ni mchezo. Kwa sababu ule mtu hujui amefinywa hata yeye.
Tumekuwa tukijiuliza, mafuta inapanda, gari ya moshi ndio ile kule pipeline inabeba watu, inabeba idadi, kawaida watu wanasimama. Mbona ikifika ni kwa gari ya matatu, COVID, ndio hiyo mafuta? Hapo hata sisi sasa hatuna la kufanya, lakini biashara imeharibika kabisa.
And to save the dwindling transport sector that has to abide to at least 60% carrying capacity to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic.
They should intervene and make that regulatory body reduce the fuel prices, because by the end of the day you see that like the electricity bills will go up. That is the cost of electricity, the cost of food.
Matatus, the much I know, even though I've never used one, the much I know, they are well spaced. As long as passengers are using masks, let them operate 24 hours. Any 24-hour economy is able to stand on its own.
This comes after the country's fuel industry regulator increased prices of super petrol, diesel and kerosene. The regulator said the March-April changes are a consequence of the average landing cost of imported super petrol increasing by 14.9%. An oppressed mwananchi in the transport sector is the current picture that has been drawn out following the increase in fuel prices. What awaits them more could be probably a crumbling transport sector. Milia Kisianya for Ebru TV.
And that is one of the stories that we're closely monitoring, even as Kenyans continue to actually lament one of the highest increase in fuel prices. So let us know what you feel about the same. But elsewhere, and that is on matters politics, Maendeleo Chapchap Party senatorial candidate Mutua Katuku has pulled out of the race hours to the much-anticipated Thursday by-election. Area Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua, who is the party leader, said the move was occasioned by the handshake among the sister parties of the ruling Jubilee Party. And as our reporter Jeff Kayamba now reports, the contest now leaves two formidable forces pitting Wiper Party candidate Kavindo Muthama and Abanas Ngengele of the United Democratic Alliance, that is UDA party.
With only hours left to the Machakos County senatorial by-election, MCC candidate Mutua Katuku has been traversing the entire county, consolidating support, made a drastic turn at the last minute by pulling out of the race. On Tuesday, Maendeleo Chapchap Party leader Dr. Alfred Mutua and his candidate, after long deliberations with the Jubilee Party boss President Uhuru Kenyatta, the duo reached an amicable solution to surrender the battle.
Maendeleo Chapchap Party extends its goodwill to His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and other BBI partners by withdrawing its candidate from the forthcoming Machakos senatorial by-election.
Katuku over the weekend held political statements against his opponents, accusing against Kavindo for lack of academic papers. But as they say, politics has got no permanent enemies.
Hamwezi kutuletea senator wa standard 6. Na wewe Musalia tulisoma na wao, na wewe. Na wewe senator wako ni kuna degree. Na wewe unataka hapa tuwe na senator ambaye hajafika form 1.
It is our expectation that in the same spirit, our partners will reciprocate our goodwill.
The exit of Katuku from the race now paves way for only two formidable candidates, Agnes Kavindo of the Wiper Party and Abanas Ngengele of the newly formed UDA Party.
Ngengele yuko na degree. Huyu mama wetu tunayempenda alifika standard 7. Hakuenda secondary school. Now we don't know why. Inaweza kuwa ni kwa sababu shida ya familia, si ndio? Hakubahatika kuendelea mbele. To our supporters, we know you've been ready to unanimously vote for our candidate, and we thank you. You've worked hard, you've campaigned, you've been out there campaigning because you know we are on an agenda of chap-chap development. The decision we have made today is a strategic and tactical decision made in the best interests of our members, our supporters, and our future plans.
The race is ready to attract another political battle, just like the one witnessed in the just concluded by-elections, especially in Matungu, Kabuchai, and London Ward. The Machakos County race, with about 600,000 registered voters, will be a do-or-die political game, pitting the Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka and Deputy President William Ruto through his allied UDA party. All is said ahead of the by-elections after the campaigns ended officially on Monday, with most of the candidates opting for the door-to-door campaigns following the ban of the political rallies. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Kayamba.
Thanks, Jeff. Now, Taita Taveta Governor Granton Samboja is not out of the woods as public rights defender Okia Okoiti Omtata has moved to court to challenge his academic qualifications barely a week after the High Court in Nairobi dismissed a case on the same for lack of jurisdiction. In the petition that Omtata has certified as urgent, Samboja is named as respondent, while Kenyatta University and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is EACC, are named as first and second respondents, respectively.
The ghosts of fake academic papers have come to haunt Governor Samboja again, barely a week after the High Court in Nairobi dismissed a similar case against him based on a technicality. This time round, public rights defender Okia Omtata has petitioned the court on a certificate of urgency, claiming that after accessing and perusing documents in the dismissed case determined that there were public interest issues.
Among the issues, Omtata says that Samboja had falsified a certificate, diploma certificate, degree certificate, and KCSE results slip, and also presented forged certificates for enrollment for a master's program at Kenyatta University. Omtata says that it is also on the court record that during investigations into the matter, Kenyatta University informed the EACC that Samboja was not a student of Kenyatta University for his undergraduate studies. The petitioner says that the fake certifications were intentionally made to misrepresent Samboja's educational achievements and to deceive the unsuspecting public to advance his employment opportunities. He claims that the fake academic certifications put the well-being of Kenya in danger, and the threat is immediate and immense for the present as well as the future. He at the same time claims that the fakes violate the property rights of Kenyatta University, the only institution which issues genuine certifications in its name, the Constitution, the doctrine of integrity, among others. He seeks the intervention of the court to lay down the law to ensure that the integrity and dignity of Kenyatta University and its certifications and awards are protected. Omtata says only the court can help stop the ongoing violations of the Constitution and to ensure that the respondents discharge their obligation to respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution. He says that the orders of the court in the case will advance the cause of justice, advance the public interest in the rule of law, and will not prejudice the respondents in any way under the law. And let's talk matters COVID-19 in the country. And Kenya has recorded the highest number of COVID-19 cases since the beginning of the year. And this is at 1,064 people who have contracted COVID-19, representing a 17.2% positivity rate. According to a statement from the Health Ministry, this is from a sample size of 6,151 tested in the last 24 hours. This takes the national tally to 115,031. Says 964 Kenyans, while 100 are foreigners. 558 are males, while 506 are females. The youngest is a 2-year-old baby, while the oldest is 91 years old. The new cases are distributed across the country, including Nairobi with 681 cases, Kiambu 93, Nakuru 69, Uasin Gishu 40, Kisumu 25, Kajiado 23, Busia 20, Machakos and Kericho 17 cases each, Mombasa 15, Nyeri 10, Kirinyaga 8, Isiolo and Mandera 5 cases each, while Laikipia, Turkana, Nandi and Meru reporting 4 cases each. Health CS Mutahi Kagwe in a statement said 185 patients have recovered from the disease, 149 from the home-based isolation and care, while 36 are from various health facilities. The total recoveries now stand at 88,781. The ministry further reported that currently there are 709 patients who are admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 2,223 patients are on home-based isolation and care. 104 patients are in the ICU, 25 of whom are on ventilatory support, 70 on supplemental oxygen. 9 patients are on observation, 25 separately on supplementary oxygen, with 24 of them in the general wards and 1 in the high dependency unit. The country's fatalities has risen to 1,925 after 7 more people succumbed to the illness. The cumulative tests in the country now stand at 1,379,990. And to matters vaccine, as the widespread concern over the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine wages on, the governors now say they will lead by example and take the jab. The council's chair, Martin Wambora, who also doubles up as the governor for Ebru, has become the first elected leader to take the jab. Take a look.
The landing of the COVID-19 vaccine at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport about 14 days ago was the start of the new wave of fear and worry as qualms about its safety continue to emerge.
We've been fighting this virus, but we have been fighting it with rubber bullets. But this time round, what we have received here is the equivalent, metaphorically speaking, to acquisition of machine guns, bazookas, and tanks.
The already worrisome state of affairs was made worse as until now, senior government officials have given the jab a wide berth. This is contrary to other countries in the world where leaders are the first in line to receive the vaccine. At least 10,000 people have been vaccinated so far, 2 weeks after the launch of the inoculation drive against the over 1 million vaccines currently in the country.
na I'm not sure. I'm not sure kama ni ya corona ama ni ya kitu ingine.
Unajua naweza pewa kitu kuje kuharibu baadaye. Kwa hivyo kama itakuwa sawa, tuona ni sawa, tutaendelea. Lakini tutakoja wale wengine kwanza wapatiwe ndio na sisi tupewe.
Tungeweza taka viongozi waanzie kwanza.
And as Kenyans wait for their leaders to lead by example.
The Council of Governors was half-half. Some for, some against.
The Council of Governors say they will take over the leadership mantle.
As their chairman, and to make a ruling mara moja. Kasema, the chairman is now ruling. There is no choice for the governors but take the job. Leadership from the front.
The council's chair, who is also the governor of Ebru, Martin Nyaga Wambora, has walked the talk and took the job, becoming the first elected leader to take the AstraZeneca vaccine.
This job has also been endorsed by the second most famous university in the world, next to Harvard only, Oxford University. It's the top university in the whole of Europe. They have agreed this is very reliable and authoritative. So who are we to doubt them?
And as the list of countries that have dumped the AstraZeneca vaccine keeps growing by the day, the World Health Organization maintains the vaccine is safe.
As a precautionary measure, after reports of blood clots in people who had received the vaccine from 2 batches produced in Europe. This does not necessarily mean these events are linked to vaccination.
All right, the WHO has chimed in to the matter as far as the safety of AstraZeneca vaccine. But of course, in the country, we're seeing only 9,144 people have been vaccinated so far. And this is a week later since the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, in the country, we're using the AstraZeneca vaccine. That is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. And of course, the big question is why the low or the poor uptake of the vaccine? So to help us understand more on the same, we're joined by Professor Gitile Naituli, who is the Commissioner, National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Professor, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time.
Asante sana, pleasure to join you.
All right. And of course, let's start with the first question. So far, we have 40 counties that have vaccinated, of course, their healthcare workers. The first batch of the COVID-19 vaccine, we actually received 1.02 million, from the Serum Institute of India. And of course, the second batch, actually, we received 100,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine. And this is a donation by the Indian government. But of course, up until now, we've only seen 9,000 people who have been vaccinated in the country. And this is from the Ministry of Health, data, and of course they're giving a weekly data. We'll receive another data, by the end of the week. So the big question is why the low uptake?
First, you notice that the government has actually not marketed or popularized this vaccine at all. You remember when they wanted to collect signatures for the constitutional change, the BBI, they involved the chief, the chief. And they moved it fairly rapidly, very fast. So the vaccinations, they are advertised, receiving of it, but they have not advertised the uptake. There's lukewarm, which maybe is not a bad thing because the vaccine itself has raised a lot of issues in Europe. And when it raises issues in Europe from the manufacturers, we better be careful for ourselves. So I think the combination of the fact that the government didn't market it the way they market other things, but the government is very effective. When it wants uptake on anything, it actually gets it done. Because there's infrastructure. It has the chiefs, the Nyumba Kumi, and if it is about the doctors, there is the doctor union and all that, so they have not put any effort at all. Which is a good thing because what is 1.2 million out of 50 million? So these doses are also, they are not that significant. And maybe it's good for the government that there's no uptake because then they will be able to give to the people who probably need it. But personally, I think I want to caution rushing into this thing until the Europeans can tell us the weaknesses involved. This, I'm not a doctor, but I understand this is a RNA vaccine, that is messenger ribonucleic acid vaccine. They are trying to mimic the genetic makeup of the virus, and that is interjecting with the receptors in our bodies. And I don't think there has been enough research on this. That's why the Europeans are getting scared about the moving into it. A lot of countries have actually suspended its use, this particular vaccine.
Okay. So you're saying, Europeans are getting scared of the vaccine because they've not done enough research, and then there's also an aspect of the country where it has not been popularized as compared to how the BBI was popularized in the country. But again, that aspect of then spreading the fear, because like you've rightly put, of course, the vaccine, the purpose is really to just mimic, the virus in itself, introduce it into your body so that it creates, an immune response, so that the body remembers that this is danger and we need to fight against it. So then the aspect of spreading the fear amongst the people, could we say, why? Because there has been, moments of research that has been put into place. A lot of money was actually, put into the same to ensure that then we have a quick, timeline as far as developing a vaccine as compared to the other types of vaccines, which took, like 10 years, to come up with a vaccine. But this one, it took only 1 year. So wouldn't you say enough research was put into it?
So the time is not, but also on the other side, you see our leaders are always fast in demonstrating to us about anything that is good that we need to take. This one is like they're also not taking it. So the level of trust on the government is extremely low. And that level, only the government can build that trust on us, citizens. So they have not made any effort in building the trust. And there has been a lot of information in the social media showing that in governments, and I think this is mainly from ways you haven't seen from Kenya, where they are pretending to be taking the vaccine, and then you clearly see that the needle has not been opened. So that amount to cheating. I've seen all that in the social media.
Okay.
So it is up to the government to discount all those misinformation to the citizens. So that the citizens know that the vaccine is good. But this is how they do it. They take it themselves. The Minister for Health should take it, the entire cabinet should take it, and then the entire parliament should take it, and then we take it to our doctors. Because you see, there is a theory going around saying that, look, we need our doctors, we need our nurses. So if this vaccine has side effects, then it will be okay if the politicians get vaccinated first.
Okay.
So we see how it works on them.
Okay.
Because they are the people you don't need the least.
Okay. And
this is the argument in the social media, and you cannot dismiss the social media right now.
Okay.
It is a very active medium of communication.
Okay. There was
so
a time.
Need to be aware of that.
There was a
and
time,
then plan
Professor.
How to counter that, because that's not necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
But then it is what the people are saying.
The people are saying. Okay, and of course, on that note, we also have some views of Kenyans who expressed, again, their concerns as far as the vaccine is concerned. At some point, we actually had West Pokot Governor, that is Professor John Lonyangapuo, saying, listen, as leaders, we're used to the fact that we're given priority on so many cases, but for this one, as far as the vaccine is concerned, it is upon us, as leaders and as governors, to ensure that then we leave it to the doctors who are more at risk of contracting COVID-19 while they are attending to patients to first of all get the jab fast, and then us leaders will come in later. I'll take your view on that as far as what Professor Lonyangapuo said, but of course for now let's just take a look at what some Kenyans had to say as far as the vaccine uptake is concerned. But of course today we also witnessed Governor Wambora, who is the COG, saying, listen, we as leaders are actually taking the mantle to make sure that, we show Kenyans, or we, ensure that then there's trust among Kenyans, and this is by taking the jab. So he's become the first elected leader to actually take the jab, and this is as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned. And of course, like you put earlier on, there's an aspect of trust, there's an aspect of misinformation, and also, the government has not popularized very well the vaccine. So let's take a look at what Kenyans had to say, and then we'll come back with reaction from you, Professor, as far as what West Pokot Governor John Lonyangapuo said as far as the vaccine is concerned.
Mimi siwezi kubali. Juu sijajua kabisa about hiyo vaccine. Yeah. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure kama ni ya corona ama ni ya kitu ingine?
Hatuwezi amini dawa yenyewe kwa sababu imeagizwa ingie nchini kwa muda mrefu na hatujui imetoka wapi. Kwa hivyo tungeweza taka viongozi waanzie kwanza
waelimishe watu kuhusu hiyo vaccine kwanza. Before wapatie watu.
Unajua naweza pewa kitu kuja kuharibu baadaye. Kwa hivyo kama itakuwa sawa, tuona ni sawa, tutaendelea. Lakini tutakoja wale wengine kwanza wapatiwe ndio na sisi tupewe.
Venye inaendelea kupewa, wanaendelea kuchukua hiyo vaccine. Si tutaona venye ita react. Kama ita react poa ni sawa utachukua. Kama kuna wenye itadhuru, hata mimi siwezi chukua kitu inaweza niadhuru.
Ikiwa sawa utapokea. Bora ikuwe ni free, si mambo na kulipia. Kama ni kulipia, wengi hawatachukua.
Okay, Professor, what do you have to say to that? There's an aspect of civic education where some Kenyans say, listen, we do not know anything about this vaccine and we're not too sure. We don't even know what it's going to do to our bodies. There's that aspect of then debate as far as, you know, when some people have experienced, you know, major side effects from the same, and then, you know, aspect of safety, cost as well, which we all understand is very free. And of course, we'll put that in context of what Professor Lonyangapo said, as far as we as leaders, we're putting ourselves last and letting the people who really need the vaccine take, you know, the front line. What do you have to say to that?
This is where confidence building measures by the leaders is required. In most of the times, like citizens are saying, the leaders are always in the front there. But this one, they want their followers first. It's not genuine because they have never been magnanimous before. I mean, we have an extremely selfish leadership in this country, which just looks at themselves and nothing else. So the citizens are saying, demonstrate to us that this is a good product. Please take it first. You saw even in the US, the president, Biden, he was one of the very first people to take it, plus the Ministry of Health, the doctors, the Center for Disease Control Director, and the others. They took it first to demonstrate to the citizens that this science is good and it can protect you. So we need our leaders to give us the same level of confidence like the Americans and the Europeans gave to their people, and then we will take it. So it looks interesting when they take a back seat because they have never done that on anything else. That's not how we are known to behave as leaders in this country.
Okay.
And this is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's now we will create misconception, misunderstanding. It will make people fear because these fellows, they are always in the front, taking anything. But this one, they are saying you people take it first. Because if you look at the argument in the social media, people are arguing that we need nurses, we need our nurses, we need our doctors. They are more useful to us than the politicians.
Yeah.
So the politicians should take it first so that if it has side effect, the end of an hour we will have nothing to lose.
Okay.
We have a lot of funny people in this country. We will create new politicians, but we can't afford to lose our nurses and our doctors. That is the argument in the social media. You cannot say that the argument is not valid because the leaders, by refusing to be the first one to take it, they are demonstrating the fear. And that fear will come to us. Even us now will get scared.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Let's take a break right now. Professor, please stay with us. When we come back, I'd want us to address the logistics issue. Do you feel as a country we are well equipped as far as one, transporting the you know, the vaccines to all the different parts of the country, and if not, what then can we do to ensure that then the vaccine, yes, reaches the entire population in the country, but at the same time it is safe, given that we only have like a 6-month period when it comes to the vaccine. So let's take that break, and of course we'll be right back with more with Professor Gitule Naituli. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is Ebru TV Primetime News. And of course, we are with Professor Gitile Naituli, who is a commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Of course, we're just trying to understand why the low uptake of COVID-19 vaccine in the country. And of course, what can we do to ensure that then we have enough or almost all people actually getting the COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, so many things came up in terms of popularization of the vaccine. What exactly is a vaccine? What does it do? when it gets to your body. And of course, the professor also says there's also an aspect of mistrust. This is between the people and the government, and also a lot of misinformation. Civic education has also not, been done. And of course, Professor, we hear you on all those things, and we've also had the people say, we need the leaders to first of all take the jab so that we know that it is safe, so that we can also take it, and also, the healthcare workers who are in the front line can take it as well. But as far as then logistics is concerned, do you feel that we are prepared? Because, look at a country like Rwanda, right? So Rwanda actually had the same amount of time as Kenya, and this is in terms of rolling out of the vaccine. 1 week later, Rwanda has managed to vaccinate over 10,000 people. And of course, up to now, we have 250,000 Rwandese who have been vaccinated. But in the country, we're talking about only 9,000 people who have been vaccinated. So in terms of then logistics and also comparing to Rwanda, do you think we're well equipped to transport the vaccine to the entire country?
This country is well equipped. Our infrastructure is actually very good in East Africa for distribution for the vaccine, because now we are talking about the dispensaries, these level 5 hospitals. We are extremely very well equipped or prepared for the distribution as a country. Our problem, like I said, is fear because of misinformation. For example, there's something I've seen in social media. I don't know how accurate that is because I haven't seen the bottle containing the vaccine. But they are saying in the social media that is written not for distribution in the USA, Canada, or the European Union. You see, that may be very good for good thing because these are donations. So they may not want the donations to go to advanced countries who can pay for it. But that needs to be explained to the public so that they don't think they are being given poison by the Muzungus. There is no love lost actually between us and the Europeans when it comes to this kind of medicine, whatever, because there has always been issues. There has been funny research done in the US, for example, in America. So the government has a lot of explaining to do to its public so that there is a buy-in, so that the fear and the rumors don't spread. You see, rumors take root when the information is not available. And that's why the Ministry of Health need to provide sufficient information for people to remove the fear so they can take the vaccination. But in terms of our infrastructure for distribution, that we have in plenty. But also the vaccines we have is a drop in the ocean. This is 50 million people. People may actually ignore by that calculation alone. If they say, what is 1 point something million in 50 million? This is a joke. And then they simply decide
not to take it.
They don't want to waste their time because those are very few people. It's a drop in the ocean. So there is all this consideration in the state it needs to take into account before they can now even roll this thing out to everyone. So one more correction I want to make. I'm a former commissioner of NNCC. I'm not a sitting commissioner.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, Professor. And also, the aspect of then safety issue, we've had the WHO actually talking about, the safety of the same, urging countries, and especially those ones, the 17 countries who had discontinued the rolling out or the inoculation of the vaccine. The WHO says, listen, this vaccine is safe. There's no proof that it is relinked in any way as far as blood clots is concerned. So can we take a look at what WHO Director General, that is Mr. Tedros, had to say? And of course, we'll come back with the same. And also then that aspect of the Ministry of Health says, listen, we are projecting to actually vaccinate 15,000 people every single day. And of course, 1.2 million people in 3 months. So do you think this is achievable? But for now, let's take a look at what Dr. Tedros had to say.
Since our last press conference on Friday, several more countries have suspended the use of AstraZeneca vaccines as a precautionary measure after reports of blood clots in people who had received the vaccine from 2 batches produced in Europe. This does not necessarily mean these events are linked to vaccination, but it's routine practice to investigate them. And it shows that the surveillance system works and that effective controls are in place.
So the recommendation at this point is that the risk-benefit of not vaccinating using AstraZeneca vaccines and other vaccines outweigh the risk of the COVID infection, which we know has a significant impact on people with severe disease, hospitalization, and death.
All right, so assess the risk versus the benefit, and then, of course, you will know what to do. That is what the WHO is saying. But, of course, in the country, Professor, as we finish, because our time is far much spent, we know that aspect of vaccinating 15,000 people daily and 1.2 million people in 3 months. Do you think this is achievable? And should we make then vaccination mandatory for all Kenyans? Very briefly.
It is achievable.
Okay.
But I don't think we should make it mandatory for all Kenyans. It should be people who want to be vaccinated, because even the WHO is not explaining why there is a label on that vaccine which says not for distribution in USA, Canada, or the European Union. They need to explain that if it's true. Remember, I've not seen it in bottle, but I've been seeing it in the social media. So if that is correct, then it means the government has to explain to us that we are not taking poison.
Okay.
Because people would rather protect themselves, and if the unfortunate situations happens, then they are willing to take it, other than indirectly take something that they don't trust. So the government has a lot of marketing.
France, Germany, and Italy
but
joined
their
several
program
other
is
European.
completely achievable. We are capable of delivering, because we have enough staff, we have enough doctors, enough nurses, and enough facilities. That one, this country is ahead of all the others in the region.
All right.
It shouldn't be able to deliver.
Okay. All right. Professor, thank you very much. I know we can talk about this over and over again. You have no problem to talk about this. But of course, in the interest of time, we have to say goodbye. So thank you so much for making time for us this evening. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Asante Sana.
All right. And of course, that is Professor Gitile Naituli, who is the former commissioner, correction there, National Cohesion and Integration Commission. But for now, let's take a look at other stories. And a section of tutors in the country are calling upon the Ministry of Health to be given priority and get vaccinated before the national examination kicks off on Friday. The tutors argue that with the rise of the COVID-19 cases in the country, some may fall ill to the virus. However, some teachers are apprehensive about the jab. Our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim with more.
Teachers are the next in line to receive the jab that landed 2 weeks ago in the country. Already the Teacher Service Commission CEO Nancy Macharia has been vaccinated to motivate other teachers to get the AstraZeneca vaccine. Already concerns have been raised to have teachers considered among frontline workers to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 pandemic. Migori County Woman Representative Pamela Odhiambo and the Teachers Union official Caleb Opondi, while speaking at an educational function in Migori County, said teachers are at a higher risk of contracting the virus like health workers.
You know, on a daily basis, teachers handle a bigger family than all of us. And these families, these children are coming from different families. And even when they go back to home, you really don't know who they are interacting with. So I think it is a good idea that the teachers should be not only given the vaccine, but also protected.
I also want to say that we would wish that the vaccination of teachers for the COVID-19 be hastened before the schools close, because teachers handle children, teachers interact with parents who come from different places. And I want to say that the Teacher Service Commission launched the jab of COVID-19 to all teachers. In Migori County, we are ready as a union, we are ready to receive the jab.
However, some education stakeholders are apprehensive over the exercise as they call upon the Ministry of Health to make it a voluntary process.
As a union, we cannot stop an individual from being vaccinated. Neither can we force an individual or make that choice on their own behalf. As a union, we are saying let the teachers decide. The individual teachers will make the decision whether to be vaccinated or not to be vaccinated.
According to the school calendar, all schools are expected to close by Friday, March 19th, to give way for administration of national examinations to 1.9 million candidates. However, school heads are up in arms over the government's move for not releasing the 15 billion Kenya shillings of free education in advance.
As they consider giving those desks, in some schools they may not need desks per se, they may need the water, the flowing water that can actually wash our hands and other things like the sanitizers, the masks and all that. So I would wish that the teachers be supported in every way possible to make sure that they deliver their services effectively as they also protect themselves and their families.
Teachers, we are prepared for the exams, and the candidates have adequately been prepared, and all the children are ready to sit for the exams.
This comes even as the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, said the money will hit the school accounts last week. But 11 days later, schools are yet to receive the money, and head teachers now say this will affect the preparations of the national examinations. Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
And elsewhere, proponents and opponents of Building Bridges Initiative, that is BBI, on Tuesday continued submitting their views to the Joint Parliamentary Justice and Legal Affairs Committee ahead of the referendum. Leaders under the Linda Katiba caucus remained firm that change of the constitution is illegal and that it only meant to benefit a few individuals in the country. However, groups supporting the course led by Maendeleo Chapter Party, Ufungamano Caucus, Youth for Building Bridges Consortium, and Mau Mau War veterans and Young Women for Kenya applauded the process, saying it is the only solution towards perennial challenges affecting the country.
We note that these are proposals, some of the proposals among many others, that we acknowledge and recognize that this amendment is a progressive one and is seeking to positively impact the life of our people, and therefore support this amendment.
Anchoring of the Ward Development Fund in the Constitution will insulate the fund from challenges in court and ensure that the fund is actualized without fear of legal challenges. As I promised, I'll keep it short. In the view of foregoing, we fully support the proposed Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, and we urge the National Assembly and the Senate to unanimously pass the bill so that we have a united and a peaceful Kenya.
Wakenya wana mikopo wameshindwa kulipa. Wakenya, takwimu zinasema kwa mara ya kwanza karibu 80% ya Wakenya, wazee, vijana na wanawake, hawawezi kupata chakula mara 3 kwa siku. Haya ni mambo mazito.
Mrs. Ouo, I'm not very good in Swahili. You are speaking very good Swahili. But we appreciate what you are saying. Our role here is to look at a document called BBI. Right? Either you come positively telling us it is good in this area, it is good in this area, or telling us it is not feasible because of, it is not acceptable because of 1, 2, 3.
There is a member of Senate who asked if adding more cabinet, more members of parliament and constituency will be creating employment for, Yes, this is a very good move, but then at what expense? The current expenditure is too high.
All right, and of course, right now, let's take a look at the Matters business. And the county government of Samburu has embarked on an empowerment program for cattle farmers in Samburu who have for many years decried declining fortunes. Governor Moses Lenol Kulal says time has come to shift from traditional cattle keeping practices and realize the benefits and profits that come with livestock value chain.
Nafikiri la muhimu sana ni kwamba tunajadiliana na kupanga namna ya kubadilisha pia breed zetu ya beef ili kwamba ng'ombe zetu ziwe zinawekwa kwa sababu ya soko, sio tu kwa sababu ya idadi ya ng'ombe, sio tu kwa sababu ya sababu zingine, lakini zaidi ni kuhimiza wakulima wetu na wafugaji kubadilisha mbinu ya mifugo zetu ili ziwe ya soko, na zaidi kwa sababu ya nyama. Kama serikali ya county tutaendelea kufanya capacity building, tutaendelea pia kusource breeds ambayo pia tutatumia hapa ili kubadilisha mifugo ya wakulima wetu. Itasaidia sana wakulima wetu ili kubadilisha breeds kutoka zile traditional ya kienyeji na kupata breeds ya nyama.
Tumekuwa na ng'ombe ya kienyeji katika wilaya kaunti ya Samburu kwa miaka mingi sana, na tumeonelea kwamba njia ambayo itainua maisha ya watu wa kaunti hii na hasa wafugaji ni kubadilisha mbegu ya ng'ombe. Tunataka kubadilisha mbegu ili ifike mbegu ya Saiwal. Saiwal ina nyama ya kutosha, pia Saiwal ina maziwa, na kwa hivyo tukiwa na mbegu ya Saiwal wananchi na hasa wakulima watapata fedha zaidi. Na tunaomba wakulima wengine katika sehemu tofauti ya Samburu na Samburu West wakubali kwamba haya mabadiliko tuyachukue na tuweke manani haraka iwezekanavyo. Tumekuwa na ng'ombe ya kienyeji tangu Mungu aunde Samburu.
Ile mafunzo nilipata leo ni kama hata kuna mwili, kwa sababu saa hizi wakati huu sasa tunaenda kugawagawa mashamba, kila mtu akwe na shamba yake, na sisi tunakuanga na ng'ombe ile kawaida, lakini saa hii tuliona hii ya Saiwal, mimi niliona hii ya Saiwal itatusaidia sana.
Well, let's play now. And Kenya will host at least 160 countries at the World Under-20 Championships that is set to be held at Moi Kasarani Stadium on August 17th to 22nd. Kenya will be aiming to retain the global title that they won in 2018 championships held in Tampere, and this is in Finland. Davis Mberia with more on that story.
The countdown continues for the World Under-20 Championships that will be held in the Kenyan soil at Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, with less than 155 days left for the event to kick off.
We expect to have at least plus or minus 2,000 participants from about, the reason why we are not exact is of course depending on the number of countries that will accept our invitation. So we'll have about 160 countries.
Initially, the championships were planned for the last year before it was delayed by a year due to COVID-19 crisis.
We hope by that time the COVID-19 protocols will have been relaxed so that we can actually have spectators. But if that does not happen, of course, we'll be informing the Kenyans and the rest of the world as we go along.
According to AK President Jack Tuwei, who is also the chair of the local organizing committee, plans were at full steam ahead of the event. Parts of the plans including the laying of a new track at Kenyatta University, where 2,000 athletes will be staying and training, as well as writing invitations to 213 member countries of the World Athletics.
First of all, the training areas, the track, or the tartan, people call it tartan, but it's actually a synthetic track, was loaded last week in Spain and will be arriving here early April. And the people from Mondo, who are the experts, will be here to lay the track, and that track will be ready. And therefore, don't be worried about how they are going to train. I know that track was supposed to have been done much earlier, in fact, during the under 18. But there was a bit of delay, and so that will be ready.
Kenya won at the 2018 championship held in Tampere, Finland, after topping the global medal standing with 6 gold medals, 4 silver medals, and 1 bronze medal. Davis Mberia, Ebru Sports.
Thanks, Davis. And elsewhere, stakeholders have welcomed Kenya Hockey start the league next month. Kenya Hockey Union has released Premier League fixtures with opening matches slated for April 3rd at various venues, including City Park Stadium in Nairobi. Clubs will have to abide by the Ministry of Health guidelines and the return to action protocol provided by the Ministry of Sports. The first leg will run until June 20th. And that is all the time we had for you tonight, right here on Ebru TV Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Our sign anchor tonight has been Joyce Werimo, and of course, not forgetting a very big team behind us who put together and ensured that the bulletin is a success. We say thank you very much. God bless. Good night. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for My Doctor. But until then, God bless. We'll leave you with tomorrow's weather forecast. Goodbye for now.